ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I got booted out and I don't know what's going on, but StreamYard had a little banner that said that they're having connectivity issues with YouTube. So hopefully we'll get through this and not have a lot of problems. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm sorry for the delay. I ran out to mail off the packages of orders from yesterday. And so the ones that come in today, because it's, tomorrow's the weekend, I'll be sending those out on Sunday. The UPS store is opened on Sunday, so I'll get them over there on Sunday, anything that comes in today. Because, we got Sabbath, so I can't go out Saturday, but I will get it mailed off Sunday, anything that comes in today or tomorrow. Google and YouTube are full of crap. They got all these engineers that they pay six figures to, and they can't even keep their mess up and running right. Come on. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I know this is a story many of you have heard out in the media, and I did see it, I just wanted to get more info before I did the story. And number two, I hate doing these stories. I can't stand what has happened to our young folks growing up in this racist, oppressive system. It has taken its toll on all of us. And, these folks, how they are. There is almost like an unspoken rule which I don't abide by, and I would say none of us should ever abide by, is that everybody can defend themselves except for us melanated folks. We can't defend ourselves. You know where that comes out of? That comes out of chattel slavery, where they could punch us, kick us, stomp on us, and we can't fight back. And they seem to think that conditioning still exists. It don't. That's why you can go out and look at multiple videos of them getting a beat down, because it definitely is one of them things that did not stick as it passed down through the generations. Let's be real. It didn't. This is why you see them getting backhanded, stomped out, jumped, okay, knocked down on the ground. So it may be their unwritten rule, but it certainly isn't none of mine. It's not my unwritten rule. So anyway, they expect us to just stand there and let them do whatever they want, and we're just supposed to just stand there and take it. That's not going to happen. Oh, those days are done. You should get rid of those expectations. If that was what you were taught when you were raised, it is time for you to get rid of the old, useless things that you've been taught. For real. So this young man, after I read what happened, he defended himself. He didn't go to these dudes. They came to him. And what are you supposed to do if you are threatened or attacked? Just stand there? Well, that's not going to happen. Y'all need to stop looking for that. That is not going to happen ever again. And none of the things you were taught applies now. In fact, it don't apply to a lot of things. Look at how y'all are struggling to try to get us out in those streets so those cops can get a hold of us. And we haven't budged yet. See, you're not dealing with that same person you dealt with even 10 years ago. You're dealing with a very different person that knows how to think and process. And we know not to step out in your streets because, number two, we know y'all trying to set us up. We know it. We know a setup when we see it. And it just ain't hitting right no more, is it? Just ain't hitting right like it used to. So I got two videos that I want to show you. Shalom to everybody in the chat. You know, sometimes when I'm talking, if you come in the chat, I may not see you because I have the article in front of me. And then sometimes I'm looking at the chat. So, but shalom to everybody in the chat. And I'm grateful that you are here. Okay, y'all. Let me share my screen. We're going to look at the first video. And then I got the next one because Karmelo Anthony, his attorneys are trying to get him out. So I'm going to let you listen to that next. All right. You know, this case, one thing that it does, it definitely reinforces how stand your ground is okay as long as you are a white male. But if you are not a white male and you use stand your ground, they fight you tooth and nail because they don't want anybody that look like us to be able to use it. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see the screen. If you can see my screen, please give me a 1. Thank you. Thank you. I know there's a delay. All right.
Students and staff at Memorial High School in Frisco will remember a student stabbed to death at a track meet.
The victim's father says his son died in the arms of his twin brother. Shannon Murray here with those details. Shannon.
Yeah, Lauren and Brandon, Memorial High School will honor Austin Metcalf during second period today. There will also be counselors to support students and staff throughout the day on campus. Wednesday morning, the 17-year-old was at a District 11 5A track meet at Kuykendall Stadium. Around 10 a.m., police say another student from Frisco Centennial stabbed Austin in the chest after a fight. The family says his twin brother Hunter tried to save Austin's life, but he died in his brother's arms. Wednesday night, their church opened its doors for a private prayer vigil. Austin's father says his son was chosen MVP of the football team and a member of the National Honor Society with a 4.0. He says right now they're relying on their faith.
He had a great life ahead of him. And to be taken away, it's such a tragedy. I mean, I can't even tell you how I feel because I don't know how I feel. I feel numb at the moment.
17-year-old Karmelo Anthony is charged with first-degree murder. Police have not said how he got the knife into the meat or what exactly led up to the fight, but Austin's father says it started over a seating issue in the stands. Austin's father says their family wants to see justice served, and he hopes his son's death will bring changes to security in the district.
Okay. You know, look, if it was a seating thing, then that's stupid. Now, did you walk up and bully this guy to get out of his seat? Because y'all do stuff like that. And instead of raising your children to be racist, why don't you raise them to leave people the hell alone? Leave people alone. You know, you may be getting away with some of it, but you certainly don't get away with all of it. Just like these workplace shootings. A lot of times those things occur because the person is not getting help that's being harassed, and they get fed up and take matters into their own hands. Instead of coming in and doing your job every day, you want to come in and mess with folks. But see, you always misjudge it. And that, that's what cost you your life. Okay? That's what cost you your life. So him and his twin brother, I believe, harassed Karmelo Anthony. And just from what I saw, he was harassed. And, our young people, they don't care about this "I'm white" crap. They don't care about that. They look at you like you're crazy because they know that mess is phony. It is. And we know it's phony. We know it's phony. There ain't nothing extraordinary about you because you lack color. Okay. No, we know that's a load of BS, but you rode on that to justify being at the top, but actually it doesn't justify anything. Okay. There's nothing written in history. There's nothing in the Bible. There is nothing in the science that proves you're more superior than everyone else. Back when I was a child, y'all, they were trying to prove through science that they were more superior than us. Every time they did different tests, they always came out on the bottom and we always came out on the top. They did try it. When they realized they kept being on the bottom and we were on the top, they dropped the science. You notice they never went with anything like, okay, we have more this than you and that. No, they went on color because they couldn't go on the science. They kept coming in last, but they absolutely tried their best to have scientific proof that they were better than us. The only reason why y'all struggle to always act like you're better than us, it's because you know who we are. That's why you do that. You always try to compare yourself to us because you know who we really truly are. You never compare yourselves to Asians, Latinos, Africans. You don't make no comparisons with them. The only one you compare yourself to is the true chosen children of the Most High. And you still don't compare. Even in our low state, you still don't compare. So they have this thing going that if any of our men, especially our men, whether they're teens or grown men, defend themselves, they always try to run to, you're a thug, you're violent. And that baffles me, how we keep getting called violence, but the ones that took land through violence never get called violent. I mean, go figure. If we compare what they've done on this earth compared to what we've done, we couldn't catch up to them even if we got an extra 100 years in all the carnage that they have committed on this planet. Okay? So why can't he defend himself? If anything, that should be on trial. Why can't he defend himself? And we know why. We know the obvious reasons. You're right because you're white. So you're never, even when you're wrong, you're right. that's how you rigged everything up for us to walk around and believe. But look, y'all, this is something that has always happened to our children. Even when I was going to school back in the day, my brother was walking home from school and some white boy with his friends were messing with him. My brother dropped his books and proceeded to beat the living daylights out of this boy. He beat the crap out of him. His mother went up, the white boy, his mother went up to the school and demanded that they throw my brother out of school, right? So my mother went up there and said, because she knew what happened, and other people had confirmed what my brother said, that this white dude started the whole thing. And see, when he put his hands on my brother, it was on. He beat the hell out of this dude. I mean, he wore him out. So she talking about she gonna sue. My mother was like, you go right ahead and sue. And my dad was laughing about it. My dad was laughing about it. And, he ended up getting suspended, but they did not throw him. But they had to suspend the white boy too, because he started the whole thing. And my parents went up there and insisted, they was like, if you going to suspend my child, you going to suspend him too. It ain't going to be my son, and this one walks away scot-free. And because my parents got up in the principal's face, they had to suspend the white dude too. They had to suspend him too. But they seriously think that his mother seriously thought he should have been just thrown out. Nah, ain't nobody throwing nobody out over that little rat you raised and put out here, and he got what he was asking for. He was asking for that beat down, and he got it. But many of them don't know how to leave people alone as children, and they don't know how to do it as adults either. They don't even know how to do it as an adult. But one thing we must, with this incident, whether it happened or not, one thing we must do is always teach our children that it is their human right to defend themselves if they are attacked. They have every right to stand up for themselves. Don't you ever teach them some rule about they can't defend them. Don't you ever teach that to your children, ever. Let them teach that BS to their children. We don't teach that garbage to our children, ever. All right. So, them folks tried to get Karmelo Anthony's, he got, it's not GoFundMe. It's another one. Well, they tried to get the funding taken down. You know why? Because they were raising a lot of money a couple of days ago, and I'm sure it's way more than what's out there. A couple of days ago, send me, give. Yeah, that's it, Spencer. Thank you. Give, send, go. Well, they tried to contact them to get the fundraiser taken down. They would not take the fundraiser down. So, hats off to Give, Send, Go. Thank you for doing that. And when I looked a few days ago, it was $250,000. So, I mean, look, the kid needs defense. He needs defense attorneys. So why can't he raise money? 362,000. Well, good. Good. I hope it reaches 1 million. I really do. So his attorneys are working behind the scenes to try to get him released. So I have another video that I want to show you from CBS. And let me show you about that. Get rid of that. All right. Let me share my screen. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Shalom to you. All right. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Please give me a 1. Oh, Oh, yeah. See, it's okay for them to say stand your ground. They just don't want us using it. Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. And I still to this day don't see how that's self-defense. You went to a protest looking for a problem. Okay? If anything, Kyle Rittenhouse was premeditated. But they gave him a big old pass, self-defense. No, that wasn't self-defense. You went out of your way to go to that protest armed with a weapon, and you were looking for a problem. How the hell is that self-defense? All right, y'all, let me play this video from ABC News.
For Karmelo Anthony will be facing off with Collin County prosecutors. That's going to happen Monday morning in a courtroom. They hope to convince a judge that the 17-year-old who was accused of fatally stabbing another student during a track meet last week is entitled to a reduction of his current $1 million bond. Anthony's lawyers also visited the track where the stabbing happened today, and they did that, they tell us, to help prepare for the hearing. And only our J.D. Miles was there with them.
Attorneys Kim T. Cole and Billy Clark walked through Kirkendall Stadium Thursday gathering evidence and surveying what last Wednesday morning was a Frisco police crime scene. An altercation between two high school track athletes led to a stabbing that resulted in one dead and another charged with murder.
We just really want to get in our clients' shoes and see what the environment was like. I know it's a beautiful day today. It wasn't anything like it was on April 2nd, but we want to see what it was, what he was going through, just kind of get an idea of, what he saw, what it looked like.
Anthony's attorneys urge the public to avoid rushing to judgment and assuming their client is guilty.
We're still praying for the family, and we also want to ensure that justice is served equally. So that's what we're hoping for.
Anthony claims he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense. His attorneys say their first priority is getting the 17-year-old who's been in the Collin County Jail for more than a week released on bond.
Our next big step is Monday. But he's doing as best as he can under the circumstances.
Part of what they hope will convince the judge to lower the bond is their client's young age and his lack of any previous criminal history. Meanwhile, the church which hosted a vigil for Austin Metcalf has had to curtail student activities because of online security threats. Both the victims and the suspects' families also report receiving online harassment and threats. In one case, a fake 911 call sent police to their home. In a statement to CBS News Texas, Frisco's police chief tells us online threats of violence towards any person, business, school, or church are criminal offenses and will be investigated. Making false statements to cause alarm or emergency response is criminal and will also be investigated. Those responsible could face a third-degree felony and punishment of up to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. It's reprehensible people who are committing such acts surrounding this tragedy. We are coordinating with Hope Fellowship related to the security of the upcoming service for Austin Metcalf. In Frisco, J.D. Miles, CBS News, Texas.
Okay, so Karmelo Anthony's family have been getting death threats. Now, I did hear that out in the media. They have been getting all kinds of threats on them, and I believe it. I believe it. They do this all the time. This is really the thing they always do when our people defend themselves. This is what happens. They get mocked, they get threatened, and, I just hope his family is safe. They deserve to be protected. They didn't do anything wrong. Well, Kyle Rittenhouse got off because the judge, instead of being a judge, the judge was acting as a defense attorney. And he didn't want to do anything. He already made up his mind before that trial started. You could tell by the way he conducted that whole trial. He already made up his mind before they even got in that courtroom that he was going to let Kyle Rittenhouse go. We saw it. I mean, it was too damn obvious. Unfortunately, Texas got a horrible track record when it comes down to Black men in their system. It is one of them states that's probably very harsh and brutal. You know, and hopefully everything will work out in his favor, but y'all always keep in mind it is Texas. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know those boys started with him. I know it. Come on. We know what these people are like. We know what they're like. We know them through and through. Mm-hmm. So my prayers to Carmelo Anthony. I hope he can get out of there and, let him prepare for trial. Whether you like him or not, he is still entitled to his day in court, and he should have that day in court. He should have his day in court. I mean, a lot's going to come out. I wouldn't even be surprised if those boys were harassing him for a while. I don't, for some reason, y'all, I don't think this was just a one-time incident. I don't believe it was. Hmm. Well, stand your ground is for, them folks. It's not for us. They did not write that law for us. They don't want you. If you notice, every time we try to use it, they always come up with a way to make sure we can't use it, or they'll say, "Oh, well, that don't apply." They'll do stuff like that. How you doing, Kid Gravity? Or it don't apply, and stuff like that. So that's what they do. They do that all the time, y'all. It is nothing new. But $1 million bond, no, it shouldn't be a $1 million bond because, he never been in trouble with the law before. It's a first time offense. And I think the bond of $1 million is overkill. But, they're going to set it at $1 million because it was a white dude that got killed. So we know why it's $1 million. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'll be following the trial, and I'm sure many of you are going to follow the case as well. And we'll see what happens. I mean, he's still underage. He's not an adult. But you know how they are in this country. Our men can be 12 years old and they'll want to try him as an adult. Their kids can do a school shooting and they're still considered a juvenile. Go figure, right? So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll definitely come back together on a different topic real soon. Real soon. Shalom, family.